And this is different than anything, any clinic around.
Workouts that are tailored for her, and that really makes a difference.
It's really personal. I've gotten way more mobile, stronger, flexible. Just everything just improves me to the next level.
Welcome to the On Cue Performance Therapy Podcast, where we push sports performance and physical therapy to its apex. We change the game by bringing together the brightest minds in the field to offer best practices and question how things are done today. I'm your host, Mike Quintans, physical therapist and expert in sports orthopedics. I'm living my dream and opened a clinic that unites all elements of sports medicine under one roof to drive recovery and performance outcomes. What's up, guys? This is Mike Quintans with the Performance Therapy Podcast. I'm here today with Coach Chris Conlan, a close friend, current coach of the Strathaven High School boys basketball team. Chris was a multi-sport athlete at Immaculata University, where he developed a passion to both teach and coach. Chris started his coaching career at Pencrest High School, then went off to Springside Chestnut Hill Academy, only to return back to Pencrest and win 2 district titles as an assistant head coach. Chris is now the head coach at Strathaven High School. How was your last season, Chris?
We had a good last season. We were 17-11. Made the Central League playoffs, our league playoffs. We made the district playoffs and the state playoffs. No championships, but pretty good for our team. We had a good year all around.
And what had happened the year before you were there?
The year before was a 3-win season for the team. So a lot of the similar kids just getting older, getting a little bit bigger and stronger, and a new system seemed to work well. And like I said, we made the playoffs for all 3, our league, district, and state, which was impressive. So looking forward on building on that for next year.
It's big shoes to fill there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of expectations coming into next year, especially considering we have a good amount of the same guys coming back. I think we lost 2 seniors from the starting lineup, and then 4 seniors total, 2 guys that helped off the bench a little bit. So, the majority of the guys are coming back. Our leading scorers coming back. So 2 leading scorers are coming back. So big expectations.
So fill me in on that. What was your secret to success, in your opinion?
I think the biggest thing was new coach coming into a new group of guys, was getting them to buy into the system that we were going to put in place, and getting them to buy into themselves. First of all, I mean, their confidence wasn't great coming off of that season, so just getting them to buy into themselves and have some confidence individually, and then putting that into the team aspect of our system and what we wanted to do defensively and offensively, I think was huge, and they did. And then obviously winning kind of helps. Once we started winning, it gets contagious, and guys just want to keep working and keep building on that stuff.
So, like college, most high schools in our area are either a football school or a basketball school. And I'm not sure you've been asked this, but Strathaven traditionally is a football school. So what is your take on that? You had gone to Pencrest, right down the street from Strathaven, crosstown rivals, so you're very familiar with Strathaven. You obviously coached at Pencrest, so fill me in on what that's like.
Yeah, so I took a lot of heat for taking this Strathaven job, considering I was a Pencrest graduate and coached at Pencrest the 3 years previous to being at Strathaven. So a lot of people gave me a lot of heat for that. But as far as football and basketball goes, I would say Pencrest was definitely a basketball school. I mean, we had a pretty good winning tradition there basketball-wise, and football, working through some things, a couple different coaches. But Strathaven, on the other hand, I think traditionally, like you said, as a football school back in the 90s, had a bunch of state championships, a couple guys go to the NFL. So recently, I'd say, again, they're probably more football recently, but hopefully we can generate some interest with basketball and get some guys moving with that.
I've had the pleasure of going to a couple of games. Wish I could have gotten more. And it was fun to get there. I mean, it was.
You were at the craziest game. The Pencrest Strathaven basketball game this year was nuts.
And who won that game here?
Strathaven, at the buzzer.
Just like you drew it up.
Just like I drew it up.
3-point shot from just 10 feet behind the 3-point line.
Yeah, I mean, it was a couple steps in from half court. So
just pulled up 3 seconds on the clock.
Very impressive.
Threw it up and swished just like
huge win on the road.
Threw it up. First time in how long?
I don't know, a couple years, 2 years,
It was a while.
3 years.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure.
At least at Pencrest, it was a while.
At Pencrest. Yeah, at Pencrest has been a long time.
What was it like taking on Coach Doyle and your former school? What was that like?
It was great. I mean, you want to win every game, obviously. Coach Doyle means a lot to me. He's taught me a lot basketball-wise, and he's just a great guy that I've been around for a long time. I played for him in high school. So, we have a great relationship. So, he doesn't like losing, just like any other coach. So, it was fun. It was exciting, nice to do on the road. A lot of people came out to support, like you. A lot of old classmates and friends parents were there. So it was a packed house. It was pretty cool.
I noticed you have a very special relationship with your student athletes that I don't see very often on the basketball court, at least. Share a little bit of that with our listeners and maybe how that came to fruition against Coach Doyle and Pencrest.
I mean, I think building a trust with your student athletes, with your players, is huge. There's going to be times where you have to kind of get after them and yell at them a little bit, and you need them to know that deep down at the end of the day, you're doing that because you want to, make them successful and you want to push them in the right direction and push the team in the right direction. So I think building that trust is huge. And I mean, as you know, I'm kind of an easygoing guy that likes to have a good time, like to joke around. So I think for me being a head coach is letting them know that, there's going to be times where I'm going to, have fun with you, and there's going to be times where we're down to business, and just kind of getting them to understand both sides of that, when it's the time to have fun, when it's the time to get our mind right and get ready for, a game or a practice. And it just transitions into games. I mean, at the end of that game, particularly Coach Doyle knew everything I was trying to do, and I kind of knew what he was trying to do, since we've coached together for 3 years, and like I said, I played for him. So there was, I think, 3 or 4 timeouts there in a row. I called timeout, drew up a play. We went out on the court. He saw what I was about to do. He called timeout and told the team what I was about to do. I switched the play. We went back on the court, and I think there was 3 or 4 timeouts, and then our guy just took the ball and shot it and made a great play, which again makes coaches look good when the guys just decide to make plays like that. But just having them trust you down the stretch like that is huge. So
tell me a little bit about your coaching style and how it's different. So I would consider you a little bit more of a traditionalist with some things. However, at least like in terms of sports. But I also recognize you as having a different relationship with your athletes that I haven't really seen before. So touch on that a little bit and how that affects the gameplay.
So I think with sports right now, like analytics and things like that are huge, and people are always looking at numbers and how they can get an advantage through statistics and, percentages and things like that. And I know while I look at that, obviously, and we use that for ourselves as coaches, traditionally, I started the same 5 guys every game this year. Part of that's a credit to you because none of them got injured. But I started the same 5 guys every game this year, and there was times where we looked at it and it was like, oh, maybe this is a better fit for this guy or this guy. But, I stuck with that. And, again, I think that's kind of the trust component of, I'm trusting those 5 guys as my starters. And, those are the guys that I'm going to put out there. And I think if you look at other, teams and even professional sports, lineups change. I mean, the Sixers change their lineup all the time depending on certain things. If you look at, like, baseball, changing a lineup, I think the Phillies last year with Kapler changed their lineup every single night. When they were winning with Manuel, they played the same guys every night in the same position. So, I think it's just kind of, my style. I want to, those guys earn that starting spot, and they need to keep it, especially when we're being successful.
I think that a lot of trust goes into that, and that's mutual trust. So trust that you have in your student athletes to make plays, and vice versa to step up. So tell me about that.
For sure. I think, like I said, there's times where watching film or preparing for a game where a coach says, maybe this guy would fit better, basketball, especially with matchups on offense and defense. Maybe this guy would fit better in this role to start this game. But, like I said, I wanted to stick with the guys that earned that spot and the guys that we trusted. And I think down the road, that makes guys, like this year and the next year coming up, want to earn that spot, and knowing that, hey, if I earn that spot, coach is really going to trust me with that, and I'm going to keep that spot and keep moving with that. So
we're amidst this whole COVID-19 virus, and PIAA is going to come out with a ruling probably within the next couple of weeks. So we think about what's going to happen with fall sports. Winter sports also has a second wave maybe coming or what have you. Tell me what's going through your mind as a coach and building off of a 17-11 season and with all these young athletes. Tell me about some of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been really hard, and it's been, for me, this was kind of my first off season with the team. I got the job last summer, probably midway through the summer, so it's kind of my first off season with the team. It's just been hard because you're kind of trusting in your guys to be doing stuff on their own. You're sending them things and honestly just trying to keep in contact with them. We've done some team Zooms just to talk, see each other. I mean, I miss the component of just being around the team, being around the guys and the other coaches and things like that. Obviously, at the high school level, coaching, is a passion. You love the sport. We're not making millions of dollars, so it's you thoroughly enjoy that time you have with those guys. So I'm missing that big time. And yeah, it's been hard because we were super excited. I mean, we lost our playoff game in the States in March, I want to say, and April I had guys ready to rock, but at that point we had already been shut down. I mean, our basketball game was one of the last. Our playoff game happened. They played the next games, I think, we played on a Friday night. We lost. They played the next round on Tuesday, and then that was it. So, we really didn't even get a chance to almost have an off season. So, just not being able to be around these guys, knowing, like I said, the expectations for next season, it's been hard just because we're so excited about getting in the gym and working out with all of our players and building them up. And, like I said, just being around them. Kids need to be around each other. And, we've been hard for me to be locked in my house for this long, and let alone, a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid. So
basketball is unique in that kids on your team can just go to the local park and with the basketball and shoot hoops. Obviously, a lot of parks have been shut down as a result of this, especially in our area, Delaware County, Swarthmore, Wallingford area. So fill me in on what have you guys been able to do? I get the Zoom calls. And how have you been able to communicate with them outside of Zoom in terms of workouts or training? Or is everything just on hold? Are we still trying to get over this whole thing? Obviously, the academic year had to finish, got into summer, and I know you probably had a lot of off-season practice scheduled, right? The pickup games, drills, etc.
Yeah, so a normal off-season schedule, we would have open gym three times a week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays we kind of gauge just how many guys we have and interest. Usually we need to do 3 days a week because guys want to be in the gym, and then we do some spring and summer leagues, which are huge for us because basketball with continuity of plays and just playing with each other is huge. So we kind of missed out on all of that. It's funny you mentioned the parks. Like me and a couple of coaches went to a park by my house in Springfield to film some videos, and the rims were taken off. So the funny part is with basketball, like you said, I tell kids when I do camps, when I do clinics, basketball is awesome. You can play basketball anywhere. You can and even if you don't have a hoop, I mean, teams always are looking for guys that can dribble a basketball. So go to a parking lot, dribble the ball. I mean, if you can, dribble on your grass. Like just find different places to dribble. Work on your handle, and obviously other things, defensive stances and things like that. You just need some space to move around and work on your lateral movement and quickness, but you don't even need a basket most of the time. But it's been hard just because some guys don't have a basket. I mean, some guys don't have a basketball, just depending on, their situation. But we've just been trying to stay in touch. We've kind of just let them know, if you're not sure what you need to be working on, obviously contact one of the coaches. We can tell you, but basketball is unique in the situation that, there's only so much you can do dribbling-wise. There's no real new moves that are being invented. Back in the day, it was a crossover through the legs, around the back, some change of pace, and it's still kind of the same. Now, the NBA, there's some weird step backs that we're not going to discuss if they're travels or not, but, those things haven't changed. So kids know, for the most part, what they need to do and what their skill set is, and just kind of getting out on their own and doing it. So we've just kind of been checking in on that with them, but it's been hard, definitely been hard.
Any word on training schedules with them? I mean, they've really, obviously you can't necessarily enforce anything, whether it's cardio, exercises, no gym equipment available. So how much of a damper has that put on, obviously basketball is one thing, but training, at least in my world, it's extremely important to prevent injuries. So we're seeing it now and here already with baseball and lacrosse even, that there's kids that are ending up in here with little league elbow and shoulder and so forth. So I want to know what can be done, if anything. Have you thought about that, especially from a training perspective? So
when we went green in PA, they actually allowed high schools to develop plans to start doing athletic workouts. At Strathaven, we've been kind of, our board hasn't approved it fully yet, but other schools have started, I would say 2 or 3 weeks ago. And Strathaven last week just approved it. Their plan, but they're only going to let fall sports start working out. but it has to be outside. So, like you said, I think it gets tough with weight rooms and things, especially for high school kids. Not a lot of kids have a weight room in their basement, or maybe they have a couple dumbbells or bench press or something, but not a lot of kids have weight rooms in their basement. So I think just trying to develop things for them to do. I mean, I don't know much about it other than what I've literally learned from you, but I've been putting kids on like the Herschel Walker plan. Go for a run, do some push-ups. Like a push-up can't hurt you. Like every time there's a commercial and you're watching a game, do push-ups, or watching games on watching TV, just do some push-ups, as many as you can, and max out. Like, so I think that's been another challenge. Like basketball was definitely a weightlifting sport, but I really wonder about like football. With kids that don't have a weight room for football, how behind the 8 ball are they going to be? PIAA moves forward with the season. A lot of kids probably haven't been able to work out as much as they should, and what will we see as far as injuries go with that when the season starts? They haven't been lifting. They're not, probably in the best shape that they could be, other than maybe just running and stuff they can do on their own. So I'm actually interested to see what happens with that, because I know for me as a basketball coach, it's been a struggle. So
I'm actually kind of scared to see what's going to happen. I really am.
I mean, it's going to be great for your business, but
yeah, but I mean, it's kind of I couldn't agree with that more. I think there's going to be a transition period of kids who are able to stay healthy, depending on how much overuse they get into and how quickly things ramp up. I'm hearing things are ramping up real fast for things like baseball, and I'm hearing that when school starts, everything's going to die down again. So I don't know, to be honest. I'm nervous, even from like professional and college sports. Those guys are, bigger, faster, stronger, but they're not in shape. I would imagine so. At least most of them aren't.
Yeah.
So what are the consequences for that?
And to me, it's like a culture thing. Like our culture is so like one speed and like straight ahead. Like we go green, and like this whole pandemic's happening, and people just go nuts. And it's like, I'm going to the bar, I'm going here, I'm going there, and now we're kind of in a situation where I think, things are worse now, kind of, than they were in March. So I worry about that with sports, because again, it's like these kids are high school kids, so it's like, would they get the green light to go play? I think about when I played or when you played. You had to like drag me off the court or off the field. Like if they're going to want to go full speed, and they're not going to realize that maybe they're not ready, or their body's not ready because they haven't been working out like they did the previous season. So yeah, I worry about that too, because we're just such a like, hey, we're playing, we're going, that's it, we're done, like just full speed ahead. So I'm interested to see what happens with that as well.
Tell me about the communication that you've had with the kids in terms of them maybe venting about what's going on and wanting to get back with the team. I'll add this, that the 2019-2020 Strathaven basketball team went through something super unique, where they had a classmate actually commit suicide, and like the color purple, right?
Purple, yeah.
And it was like actually really, really cool. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. Getting that whole team came together like glue, and Coach Conlan, coming from the outside in, was right at the middle of it, and I could, we had spoken a few times, and I could even tell like you were wearing it on your sleeve. So this is a tight-knit group. They're only losing 4 seniors. I'm sure like they're upset. They want to get together. So touch on that.
Yeah. So in the fall, I believe it was. One of the students at Strathaven, passed away, and a lot of the guys on the team were very close with her. And like you said, I was new to the situation. I didn't teach in the building, so I really didn't know her personally. But from all the community and the kids that I coached, just hearing about her, she was very well loved and liked. And they came to me, and they wanted to do something in honor of her for our first game. So we dedicated our first game to her, and we all wore purple shirts to warm up in, and I think a lot of them bought purple shoes like LeBron's that they wore all season. And one of our coaches, one of our assistants that teaches in the building at Strathaven, was very close with that student as well. So it was just nice to see the community come together. Her parents were at the game, and they made an announcement about it, and they were collecting money that night for a charity in her name. And it was just, like you said, I was new to the situation, and for that to be that was my first game as a high school coach, as a head coach. I was nervous, but that made me comfortable just seeing how those people cared about, the kids in the community and how they came together. And the guys on the team are super close. They're frustrated right now. They're kids. Like they want to be, they want to be around each other. They want to be with their friends, and they want to be playing basketball. So, when we have open gyms, the hardest thing for me is, I have a wife at home, and now I have a daughter at home. Like, I'm there, and I'm like, I got to go. Like, they won't leave the gym unless I literally kick them out sometimes. And we're talking like they've been there for 2.5 hours, and they want to just keep playing. So, they're chomping at the bit to get back in the gym, and they're frustrated. I think they understand the situation, but they're just frustrated that they can't be around their friends and they can't be with their team because they are a really close-knit group. It was really cool.
That's awesome. I think that's special.
That's sports.
That's
sports is unbelievable in that regard of bringing people together. And, I think at this point in time in our situation, I think that's why people want to see sports come back a little bit. And I think we forget that these professional guys are human beings as well. Like, we're like, they should just go play. Like, no, like, they have families too they have to worry about. But also, I think sports do bring us together. I think back to like 9/11, that first baseball game, I think it was in New York. You get, like you just say, you get goosebumps, like you get chills, like it just brings people together. And it, when Osama bin Laden got killed, the Phillies fans were chanting USA. Like, it's just like, I think sports bring everyone together in a really good way most of the time.
This has been a special podcast. This is pretty cool. As some of you listeners may know, Chris is a good friend of mine. We were in each other's weddings, and I'm super proud of him. This has been really cool to do this with you. This is part one. My takeaways, part one. Trust wins. As a young coach, I think kids today can take advantage of certain situations, and trust wins. And it was cool that trust won against Pencrest, our alma mater. I was wearing my black and silver that day. So, my second takeaway are the potential implications of COVID. And what the kids are dealing with, and what challenges how this is impacting our kids every day. And we need sports. I think that's the truth. You got any other takeaways, Chris?
No, I would agree. I try to be trustworthy in my teaching job and my coaching job, and I think that works with the kids. And the COVID thing is it's kind of crazy. It sucks right now. It's hurting a lot of people mentally and physically. I think some kids not having access and being able to work out, I think is not great right now. But hopefully we can keep chugging forward and get over it.
Always tomorrow. So hopefully we'll see what happens. Please let our listeners know how they can get in touch with you, reach out to you, and communicate with you.
So on Twitter, you can follow me at Coach Conlan, Coach_Conlan. Same on Instagram.
Conlan.
Conlan, yep.
Coach Conlan. All right, part two on deck. We're going to get into here's a sneak peek on some of what the kids are dealing with today in terms of AAU sports, overuse injuries, different training backgrounds, and what the future holds for it. Thanks, Chris. Looking forward to it.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the On Cue Performance Therapy Podcast. If you like this episode, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It would mean so much to me if you could leave us a 5-star review so more listeners like you could get this important information. See you next time.